Hello, and welcome to another episode of I Love This, You Should Too, a podcast with me, Samantha, and him, Indy.
That's me.
Hi, Indy.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Seeing as I just walked in. I'm well. How are you?
Oh, so well.
This is that banter people tune in for.
Witty banter that we do. Today, we are doing a pre-episode because it is my week for the big watch next week. So we will have 2 spoiler-free things of the fortnight, and then we will talk about the movie that I would like us to watch.
Wow, we're really not doing any banter today. Let's get to work. I like it. So, Sam, you're going to start things off. What's your thing of the fortnight, and why is this audiobook better than last week's?
My thing of the fortnight is called Stranger in the Mirror by
Karen Slaughter?
No.
We're getting a break.
Liv Constantine. I switched.
Live constantly.
Liv Constantine.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just advice.
It's a self-help book. You're supposed to live constantly.
Yeah, because whenever I take a break, that's when I get into trouble.
That's when you end up in the hospital and bad things happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I try to live constantly.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I do most things, is to continue living.
Whoa, yeah, I guess.
Eat, I drink water.
And then I'm not even a fan of it. What am I even doing here?
Moisturize my skin. Anyway, that's not anything to do with the book I read. So yes, it's called Stranger in the Mirror. It's about a woman who is about to get married and she can't figure out why she's not excited about it. She loves her fiance, but she thinks that it has to do with the fact that she can't remember anything before 2 years previous. And
yeah, that's probably.
It's probably something to do with your traumatic head injury. And so she was found by her now surrogate parents bleeding next to a New Jersey highway and was picked up by her now surrogate father with absolutely no idea who she was, where she was, or how she got there and why she was bleeding. She doesn't know her real name. She has no idea, but she can't shake the notion that there's something that she has left behind and is like yearning for something that she doesn't know what it is, but she feels like there's somebody waiting for her.
I assume this is going to be about her finding out what all those things are, but at this point of the book, when she's getting married, she has no memories that are more than 2 years old?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be getting married.
No, I agree.
Really?
I really agree.
If you're like, hey, I don't even know
because you're basically like a
2 years
teenager trying to figure yourself out. Yeah, I did think
That's
about
too
that at the
fast.
beginning, that it was like way too fast to be getting married.
How long has she known this dude?
I think they meet like a couple months into her living in this town that she
So
lives
it's kind of like her first boyfriend.
in. Yeah.
This is her first relationship, and she's like, well, let's get married after a year or so.
Yeah.
That's bad news.
Too fast.
And then also, if you have this thing hanging over you of like, hey, who am I?
Yeah.
Maybe you should slow down a little.
I think so.
But again, this is a novel and not a person that needs our
Advice.
assistance. Yeah, so go on.
No, and I had all of those thoughts too while I was listening to it, because I was like, I feel like if you don't know yourself and you also don't know this human that you're going to marry or that you're starting to date, I feel like that's a lot of things you don't know.
That's too much.
Yeah. And so throughout the beginning of the book, it's kind of it's part 1, part 2 in this book. So in part 1, she's trying to figure out who she is. She's trying to figure out where she's from, while also just trying to move forward and live this life she's created for herself. She picks a name for herself. She is living semi-independently. And then she and her fiance go on a vacation to Miami, and someone calls her by a different name and says, oh, I remember you dancing at this club.
Oh.
And if you're ever like dancing this weekend, send me a text, and gives her his business card. And she's like, that's not who I am. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, you don't want to like be associated with it in public.
Yeah.
But and so then she goes down this kind of rabbit hole of trying to figure out who this person is, and they can't find any information on it, and the club's closed, and her surrogate parents actually go to Miami to try and like find people who might know who this person is, and they never get there. But at her first art show. She's a photographer, and her fiance's family owns a gallery, so it's all very fortuitous that she gets this art show.
I was going to say, how does she have a showing? She's only been taking pictures for a year. But fiance with a gallery helps.
Fiance with a gallery, rich parents. And so she is in a photo on the front of the gallery space, and her husband from her previous life sees her, and then she is kind of tossed into this whole other life of she has a child, she has a husband, they have a life, they live in a completely different city, and she starts to kind of unravel what this other life was, and then she has to figure out where she wants to exist.
I feel like you've brought in probably 6 or 7 books where it's a woman who has this one life, but then she has this other whole life that she didn't know about, whether it's time travel or a boyfriend she thought was dead, or she thought she was dead, or she swapped places with someone. There's always like, which life do I choose? That happens a lot, huh?
It does. It's a very popular trope.
I guess so. I don't know if I've read a book like that.
Yeah. So the second half of this book is a psychological thriller. So it goes from this like rom-com-y kind of family drama into a psychological thriller, and I really liked the turn. And the writing style changed a little bit, and then you also get some of those twisty-turny things that I really love, of second guessing yourself and trying to figure out what's happening before it happens and that kind of thing. And I actually really enjoyed it. You get a really interesting sense of who everyone is, and then all of a sudden that's just completely changed, and you realize that the people that were super trustworthy are not. And then there's like a huge twist right at the end that you don't expect at all, and it totally changes everything that you think, because it felt like it was coming to a conclusion, and then I looked at the audiobook player and I still had like 90 minutes left in the audiobook, and I was like, oh, something's coming, because it felt like it was all wrapped up, and then it got super crazy right at the end. So I enjoyed it. I don't want to give anything away, because it is like quite a good ending to this book.
So often you bring an audiobook for every thing of the fortnight, but then I'm like, so it's really good? And you're like, yeah, it's fine. This one you seem to actually like?
I really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I kind of expected the psychological stuff in the beginning. So then when it was just like a nice story about someone finding a life for themselves when they've had amnesia and like clearly went through something traumatic, I was like, okay, I can get into this. This is great. It was really well written. And then all of a sudden it got really crazy in the second half. So I felt like it was like 2 books in one, which was kind of neat.
But you found those twists were earned, because the way you phrased it, a lot of the times when it's, you think these people are trustworthy, and then at the end it was all a sham, and those ones always feel a little cheap and manipulative to me, but you felt like this kind of worked with it.
Yes. I really want to tell you, actually, and maybe I'll tell you later off the podcast, but yeah, the devices that they used to kind of distract and like redirect you in what you were thinking were really different. I haven't really read a book where they've used some of these things, and it really made you question the like narrator and her ability to like actually tell the story.
Oh, unreliable narrator.
Yes. So yeah, I think it brings something a little bit different to this genre that I read so often. And you get kind of an interesting idea of just how scary it is to trust people. So that's The Stranger in the Mirror by Liv Constantine. It was published in July 2021, so it is fairly new. And she has a whole bunch of other books, and I'm now about to start my 3rd book of hers.
Oh, are you done with Karen Slaughter for a bit?
Yeah. The problem with Karen Slaughter is that she's really popular, so there's always a really long wait on all of her books. And so I found Liv Constantine and was like, it's kind of similar, and I think I might actually like Liv Constantine better than Karen Slaughter.
Oh,
so
you heard that, Karen Slaughter? Your last week's news now.
Yeah. So check it out and let me know if you like it. I'm always interested if other people like books that I liked. So, Indy, what's your spoiler-free thing of the fortnight?
My thing is the new in theaters 2025 film Sinners.
That's wild.
Because I go to one, maybe two movies a year now, despite the fact that I have a film podcast. I don't see a lot of new ones. You go a little more than I do.
Yes, but that's I see way fewer movies than I used to.
There's also just not great movies out there.
No, and that's the thing. It felt like there were like 15 movies every weekend back in my day. And now there's like one movie a weekend, it feels like.
If that.
And they're not even interesting to me.
No, everything is a sequel or a prequel or a requel.
A requel.
But this is one of those few completely original movies. Mm-hmm. So I went into Sinners knowing nothing about it, which is what I do for every movie that I know I am going to see that movie, because I've liked everything Ryan Coogler has done so far. That is the director. He directed this and Fruitvale Station and Creed and Black Panther. And all of his movies, I think all, star Michael B. Jordan, who is... I was going to say is my favorite young actor, and then he's like in his mid-30s, I think. But if he's younger than me, he's a young actor.
He's one of those whippersnappers.
Yeah. On a side note, like actors are just old, huh?
Yeah.
I think we don't like to give a chance to anyone new. Like, of course, there are like these young actors that are making blockbuster movies, but once we like someone, and sometimes it takes a while for actors to break through, then we're like, oh, you're good? Or not even you're good. We like you. You're in everything now. Liam Neeson, you did Schindler's List. That was good. Now you're an action star. You're also a comedian. You have to do it all. And I'm just kind of tired of 55-year-old action leads and romantic comedies. Like, why is everyone in a romantic comedy 50 years old? Men only, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Women have to be young.
Women have to be like 18. But the men can be whatever age they want. Michael B. Jordan is 38.
There you go. Young
One of those young actors.
I guess it's just people don't like taking risks. So if someone is proven to be a box office draw, we just keep putting them in there instead of getting someone new.
Yeah.
Every superhero movie, that should be unknowns. There's no reason to put a name into a superhero movie because they don't get a chance to really act. They're really just being cast and like, hey, do you look like this? Sure, go and do it. And then we're just going to fill out a formula. That's a perfect place for unknown actors, but that's not what we do. And of course, we only do things that have already been based on something, but I digress. But that's a good segue into Sinners because it's not based on existing IP. And I'm not going to spoil anything, so I think I'll talk mostly about the first half of the movie and a lot of the style and things I liked about this movie, but not ever talk about what happens in the movie. I think people probably know more than I knew when I saw it, because I didn't even know what the horror element is.
Yeah, I didn't either. I realized I booked the tickets and like didn't read anything about it as the movie was starting. I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen.
That's perfect. And then weren't you happy for that?
It makes me anxious.
I guess that's why you do like formulaic stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a comfort.
Yes.
Like, now this happens, now this happens.
Yeah, I like
and
to
this
have
movie was like, that's happening?
Yeah, I also didn't know how long it was. I was like, I guess I'm just sitting here for however long this takes.
I just had to sit and watch a movie and eat your burger or whatever. So I think,
and eat popcorn.
You know what? I think you were fine.
Yeah, I think I was fine.
I think you managed.
Oh, I was fine. It was just a weird feeling going into something not knowing anything about it.
I think this is Coogler's best directed film. I'm not sure if it's my favorite of his or where it ranks, so I'll have to sit with that for a while and probably watch it again. But the style, especially of the first half of this movie, is absolutely gorgeous. I love how it's shot and the cinematography, and there's so much that I want to watch again to understand better. I know I talked to you after, and I was like, what was that film stock? And you're like, why would I know and why would I care?
It was shot in IMAX.
Oh, I was saying like it looked grand, and his movies tend not to, because I know Fruitvale was on like 16 millimeter, and the size of the film, I mean, I'm not going to tell all about that.
Indy's Film School in a pre-episode.
The size of the film changes a lot of things, like the grain density and also how much depth of field, like how much can be in focus, changes depending on the size of the film. And in this, there was so much shallow depth of field, but still on wide-angle lenses. And usually you never see those things to go together. But that's because this must be on 70 millimeter film, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I learned that from friend of the show, Kimberly.
Oh, she knows her film stock. Well, I wonder what the stock was.
She's dating a film podcaster, so they went and saw it in IMAX.
You too.
Yeah, we have that in common.
But along with those lenses, how faces were lit and
interesting.
instances of people moving in and out of focus. At first, I thought there was errors in the projection, so I want to like get a good copy of this and watch it at home and really go through all of that stuff because someone like this isn't doing those things by accident.
No.
I complain when we watch a lot of movies that a lot of directors don't know how to light black people. It's different. And Coogler knows how to because all of his movies feature a predominantly black cast. And in this one, the lighting is so different that many people like Saul Williams plays a preacher. Saul Williams is in this. He's a poet and rapper and musician. And you could just see his eyes and teeth in sections of this.
It was really interesting. They almost seemed to like fade into the darkness.
Yeah.
Which in some scenes worked really well.
But here, I think it's more about religion being an oppressive force and music being a liberating force. And that's why they were. But we're not going to go into every little thing about this movie. It's a quick one. So all of that stylistic stuff, I think I need to watch again to really get a feel for it. But I think this is his most ambitious movie. He draws on a lot of really interesting lore, and something I'm especially interested in is the lore surrounding the blues, but this extends to other music as well. But I love stories about like the Delta blues. There's so many really fun ones. But like, you know, the big ones, of course, of meeting the devil at the crossroads, and that's how Robert Johnson learned to play the guitar, and that kind of stuff is coming into this. And the way he integrates music and its importance to culture and society is very ambitious, very interesting, and ultimately, I think, very effective. And I don't just mean using music, like the score and the soundtrack. That's just the beginning. It's about the importance of music in this film that really extends beyond just featuring very good music.
Yeah, it was a very, very good sounding movie for sure.
Yeah, the sound design, sometimes when someone would tell a story and the sound effects from that story would come into just their narration, and we're not seeing any visuals from that story, but it makes that storyteller that much more powerful. Yeah. And I guess that's something that he's trying to talk about, how music can do that. But maybe we need a full episode on this one.
I think we might.
I think it's his most theatrical work. It's bigger than all his other stuff. Like Black Panther, of course, is big. And it's all those superhero movies are soap operas, essentially. But this is a theatrical and a spectacle. But the performances, I think, are very grounded. So yeah, Michael B. Jordan, and he is the lead. He's kind of the two leads. He plays twin brothers. Yeah. And usually when you do that, the tendency is to make them very different as possible. And this was a lot more subtle and grounded. They were distinct characters, and you could tell which one was which, even without the one predominantly wears red and one predominantly wears blue. But even without that, you could tell, but it makes sense that they are so similar because they are best friends and twin brothers. They're not complete polar opposites. Haley Steinfeld was very captivating in this movie.
She was fantastic.
I know her only from as a child actor in True Grit. She was amazing in that. And I know her as a voice in the Spider-Verse movies, but I kind of missed everything in between. And meanwhile, she's this giant star, and I just haven't seen a lot of her work.
Yeah, she's kind of everywhere.
Delroy Lindo is one of my personal favorites. I love Delroy Lindo. And when he came on, I like nudged you and I went, it's Delroy Lindo. So excited. And you're like, I don't know what that means.
I'm like, cool.
But he gives a great performance. Does he have an Oscar? I don't know. I don't think he does, but I think Best Supporting Actor, Delroy Lindo next year. There's an actor named Miles Caton, I think his name is, and he's fantastic. He has a very reserved performance, so it's probably not going to wow a lot of people, but he is a singer in this, and his voice, like, even when he was just talking, I was like, I can't wait to hear this guy sing, and luckily we do. He was great in it. And Wunmi Mosaku plays Annie, and she has a very commanding performance. I had become aware of her in that movie His House that we saw a few years back. It was a horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
And she was very good in that. Very good in this. She commands the screen when she's on it. Mm-hmm. And I said this is a horror movie, I guess. It has horror elements, at least. It's kind of split, but we don't need to talk too much about that. But when the scary things happen, it's to take not only life and blood, but rather music and stories and culture. And because of that, the metaphors are not hard to find. It should be an easy read for people out there. And this villainous aspect that I'm not even talking about also shows the enticing nature of that specific kind of evil and how it seems like a good idea, or even if not a good idea, an easy solution. And I liked that. The horror parts of this are very different from the rest of the movie, and I'm not sure if that's fantastic or terrible. But since I loved the non-horror stuff so much, it would have been really interesting to see Coogler bring that same sort of style into the horror parts. But instead, what he does is kind of pays homage to other horror pictures. And you can kind of pick out the movies if you're a big nerd like I am, of like, oh, I'm doing this from here, I'm doing this from here. And that's pretty cool too. It's interesting to see, like you were talking about with that book, with a distinct shift in tone.
Yeah.
This does a distinct shift in tone, cinematography, performance style. There's a big shift. So it's a great movie. It's full of religious iconography. It's a romantic movie. It's a redemption story. It's a revenge story. It's full of pulpy horror, but then also period drama. It's part musical. It's kind of all over the place. And like I said, it's a very ambitious movie. Whether you watch it and feel like some of those elements were at odds with each other, I completely understand that, but I ultimately think that it is successful, if not completely cohesive, because there are kind of jarring, maybe not jarring, surprising shifts throughout it that keeps you on edge, but I think that works to the film's favor. And I highly recommend it. It's called Sinners. It's in theaters now. If you're listening to this right away, go check it out. You liked it too?
I really liked it. I was talking about it with someone the other night, and we both said, like, yeah, I just wanted to, like, turn around and go watch it again. Like,
I do really want to rewatch it.
It was, like, profound in the fact that I just wanted to, like, turn around and watch it again, even though it's, like, another 2.5 hours. I was like, no, I'm ready. I would like to see it again soon.
Wow. Maybe we should do it on the show.
Sure.
I do need to rewatch it again because there's a lot of things I'm unsure how I feel about them. Oh, and one other little interesting thing. Very recently, I'd watched a section of a TV show called Untold America, and it was called The Untold Story of the Mississippi Delta Chinese. And it was very interesting. I thought it was fantastic. And then in this movie, I was like, oh, I just learned about this. And then the credits came through, and the person who made that was the consultant on this. Oh. And she was talking about, I saw an interview with her recently.
Interesting.
Talking about how important it is that Coogler did the research or got people who are experts on this and really made this world authentic.
I was wondering about that because I was like, we live in an age where, you know, we're blind casting things. And so I was wondering if it was that or if there's like actually historical. And I forgot about that because this movie is so much that like at the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, I want to look that up.
Very short version is a lot of the times, of course, black people couldn't go into white-owned grocery stores. So the Chinese population took that, and they were often grocers or things like that that were willing to serve the black community when no one else was.
I had a feeling that had something to do with it, and I was interested. And then, yeah, this movie was like 110 things all at once. So I was totally forgot about it because everything came at you so fast in this movie. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. I'm going to look into it more.
That little video is from a filmmaker named Dolly Lee, L-I, and she has done some other very interesting work too, but you can just search that and find that video maybe on like YouTube or something even. All right, so I tiptoed around things enough. Now I want to know what we are going to watch next week when we can spoil it and really get into things.
Yes. So I was trying to think of what I wanted to do, and I was thinking about like places we've traveled and like things that we saw, and if there was any like, because we were just talking about a trip we took earlier this year. You can listen to our episodes about that. But I was thinking about like, where else have we gone? What's been like everywhere?
Are we watching Sleepless in Seattle?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean, go on.
So everywhere you go in Seattle and all the gift shops, it's Grey's Anatomy and Sleepless in Seattle. And so I thought maybe we should see Sleepless in Seattle because I have not seen it. And I feel like it's something that I should have seen. I have been to Seattle like 4 times and I've never seen Sleepless in Seattle. So I would like to watch that this week.
And this is something that I've been pitching.
Yes.
Because you love romantic comedies.
I do.
And I often say, like, most of the ones you like aren't that good. Some of them are.
Yeah.
Many are not. I think just the quality of movies in general. Most movies aren't good. Mm-hmm. Some are. And I was saying how you hadn't seen a Meg Ryan romantic comedy. And to me, she is she's romantic comedy to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I thought this is something that I like. It's comedy and romance. The reason I didn't see it was because I was 5 when it came out. But I thought it kind of checks all the boxes. I like Tom Hanks. I like Meg Ryan. There's some other people in this.
There are some others.
Well, I like Rita Wilson. I've seen her in a few things. And Rosie O'Donnell's in this. So that's cool.
I only remember Bill Pullman.
Yeah, and Victor Garber. I like Victor Garber.
I was going to say, and there's that guy who's in everything. I don't remember his name ever, but that's him.
But yeah, so there's names that I recognize who are all like older actors now. So I'm interested to see them in the 90s because that's
when they were at their peak.
Yeah, when they were young and hot. So we're going to watch Sleepless in Seattle for next week. And I know nothing about it other than who's in it. So that's where we're going from.
I've seen it. I don't remember much because I saw it when I was quite young. And since then, I had seen like You Got Mail and other Meg Ryan romantic comedies. So I think the one often regarded as the best, maybe, I think that's the case, Sleepless in Seattle. I think its memory has been diminished to me because of all the other Meg Ryan romantic comedies I've seen over the years.
Yeah. So see, I feel like just living in the world, you really see clips or like references from things, and I don't know which Meg Ryan movies they're from. So This is, again, I'm like, is it You Got Mail? Is it Sleepless in Seattle? I don't know. But
you've also never seen When Harry Met Sally.
Nope.
That's a good one too.
So I'm like going into this pretty blind, and I'm excited. So it is available to watch on Netflix, and you can also find it on Crave and Prime Video with the like fancy subscriptions. So it's around. Or you could probably ask your mom, and she probably has a VHS of it.
Yeah. I bet you'd like French Kiss for Meg Ryan romantic comedies.
I might. Maybe we're going down the Meg Ryan rabbit hole here.
Kate and Leopold? That one was terrible, though. That's with, I think, with Wolverine?
I think I saw that. Yeah, there's time travel in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did see that one. I don't know why that's the one that I've seen, but...
Because it's later, so it
came out in 2001. It probably was in that era where I was going to a movie every Friday night. Yeah. So that's probably why I saw it. But yeah, I don't know really any of these movies other than Top Gun.
Oh, for Meg Ryan movies. Yeah. For her romantic comedies, I think it goes Harry Met Sally, I'd put Joe versus the volcano in there. That's like a weird one. It's not really a formulaic romantic comedy, but Sleepless in Seattle, French Kiss, I think is quite good too. And then the one we were just talking about, You've Got Mail.
Oh, yes.
And then she does some like straight just romance, no comedies.
Is that
like City of Angels?
I was just looking at that. I'd be interested to see that one as well.
You know what? I'd be interested to rewatch that because that was a movie I thought was good. And now when I talk about it, I'm like, man, it sounds terrible. But I think it might be good.
I think it looks interesting, and I would be interested to know what that's all about.
Maybe that's the next one. But
Maybe.
For next week, watch Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
And we'll spoil it all next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.